Hi everyone, I'm Michelle from Vitality Reconnected. Each week I share with you tips and information on ways that you can reconnect with the vitality that you so rightly deserve. This week's topic is how to have better relationships. So a few positives that I want you to be able to take away from today is that you're going to have a greater understanding of yourself, a greater understanding of relationships, and therefore you can have better relationships in your life. Some of the things that I see as a negative, that if we don't go into these areas of ourselves, it can really impact the type of relationships that we have, or it can impact the relationship that we have with ourselves. Or it can be the difference between doing the same pattern over and over again in different relationships, whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, or even the same problems that we can see with families. So the 3 steps that I'm going to share with you today as my 3 tips are, number 1, take responsibility for yourself. Stop blaming and putting all of the pressure onto somebody else. Stop shifting all of the blame. Look at what is your part to do in this relationship. Am I making it better? Am I making it worse? Or am I allowing somebody else to take responsibility for how I feel? Or am I taking responsibility for how I feel? Sounds really simple, but we tend to look at what somebody else is doing wrong before we look at what we're doing wrong ourselves. So make sure that you look at what's your role in what's going on in your relationships. Tip number 2 is show compassion and stop being so judgmental. That sounds a hell of a lot easier than it really is. But this sort of goes a little hand in hand with tip number 1, because if you start looking at yourself, you start looking at, am I judging this person that I'm in this relationship with, whether it's a family, your partner, or even a work colleague? Am I judging them, or am I doing something that could alter this whole situation completely? So learning to show a little bit more empathy and compassion can be really, really helpful. And my 3rd tip is the 50-50 rule. It doesn't matter what relationship we're in, we are 50% of every relationship that we can ever have in our lives. Whether it's with our partner, with our mother, with a friend, whoever it is, we are supposed to be 50-50 in a relationship. So if you're doing 80% of a relationship, or if you're doing 10% of a relationship, it's not an equal relationship. So you get to look at, what am I allowing to have happen in my life, or where am I going too far? You get to see what's going on with a balance that's in our relationship, and that gives you the power to make changes if need be. Just the other day, I was having this very same conversation with a client of mine, and he was saying how when he utilized the stop shifting blame aspect, he could actually stop and see everything that his wife was going through in order to create some of the conflict that they were having at home. So it allowed him to sit back and actually do step 2, which was show more compassion. So when you stop to look at things from a different point of view, it can just be a huge difference in your relationship. Sometimes the small things can really be the big things. So question of the day, which out of these tips will have the most impact on you personally, and why? So please comment your answers below. I look forward to reading what you have to say. I hope you've enjoyed today's talk on how to have better relationships. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. I put new videos up every Monday.